everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, January 12th, 2025. What kind of sick, twisted individual orders a beautiful oolong tea with agave sweetener and then dumps 2 half and halves into it? I'm sorry, but that is messed up. Of all the things to drive me crazy about the show this week, I said, that sounds like a lovely tea. Ew, half and half? Nasty! Who puts half and half in their tea? I say, go get her, Claire. That Jordan woman is a menace to society. She needs to be locked up. Locked back up. Ugh. Well, how about that? Claire recognized Jordan's drink order, made a mad dash to the Crimson Light's back door to try to see who was ordering this bizarre and horrifying drink. And next week, it looks like it's basically all going to happen all over again. I'm wondering if Claire is going to end up being the one who cracks this whole thing wide open and then makes a beeline back to the Abbott house before Harrison's bedtime so that she and Kyle can break the news to him, the good news to him, that they are boyfriend and girlfriend. And that she might be walking around the house in her PJs from now on, sleeping over. Go, Claire! Dang. I mean, I don't want to throw the word hero around willy-nilly, but I mean, maybe the girl deserves it. Maybe Claire could follow Jordan's drink order all the way down to the sewer and rescue Sharon too. Nah, that's Nick's job. No doubt about it, that's Nick's job. Detective Nick has one mission, and one mission only, and that is to find Sharon, with or without the GCPD. Oh, Sharon never made it to the New Year's Eve party, and then she didn't come home last night, so everyone in her family is worried about her for about the millionth time in the past couple of months. We're worried about Sharon and where she could be. And while Nick was at the ranch with Nikki and Victor, he actually got the phone call from Chance telling him that Sharon's car was found in the river right next to where Heather's body was found. Cue Phyllis claiming that she is over Sharon, doesn't want to hear anything more about Sharon, isn't going to pursue Sharon anymore. What a coincidence. Jordan really timed that out perfectly, didn't she? Jordan, the #1 suspect in the future Who Killed Ian Ward storyline. I mean, I think we all can see where this is headed. Ian's gonna wind up dead, and Jordan is gonna be the one who will want Ian dead the most, and she will have the motive, and she will have the means, and Jordan is apparently the real person who killed Heather, so she's killed before. What would stop her now? She has killed before just for sport. What would stop her now when she has an actual reason? But alas, Jordan did have the opportunity to kill Sharon. Jordan had her marching orders from Ian to kill Sharon, but she chose not to do it. Instead, Jordan chose to tie Sharon up down in the sewer, down in the same sewer where Cameron Kirsten's blood still stains the ground. Jordan chains Sharon up with a bottle of water and a bag of chips. As an insurance policy against Ian, apparently, because Jordan is not going to continue carrying out all of Ian's dirty work without the crisscross that he promised her in return. And that has just so happened to save Sharon's life inadvertently. The fact that Jordan is feeling betrayed by Ian has saved Sharon's life for now. But so Sharon is down in the sewer. Ew, why does this keep happening to me? She's down in the sewer hallucinating this bitter reunion with Cameron Kirsten, which honestly is the only thing that has saved me from being seriously turned off by this latest turn of events. Because, like, remember last week how I said that I didn't really mind seeing Sharon tied up after everything that she did to Heather's dead body? Yeah, well, I take that back. I have to take that back because Y&R has gotten so dark all of a sudden. Like, I have had my fill, I think, of seeing Sharon crying and screaming and tortured. I've had enough of it. Somehow, some way, Cameron Kirsten was the only thing that lightened all of that up for me, especially because I loved the moment when he suggested that she just spit on her wrist and wiggle her way out of the handcuffs. That was the best part of the whole thing. Otherwise, it's all just way too dark. Wait a minute, how in the heck is Cameron Kirsten the lightest part of this whole story? Oh yeah, Ian's fate is sealed. And I think Mariah is definitely going to be a suspect in his murder or disappearance or whatever, especially now that Mariah has said out loud she's gonna kill him. Man, finally, yes. This is the Mariah that I was waiting to see. So she and Tessa strolled up on Ian Ward in the park, literally strolled with Aria in the stroller, came up upon him. And Ian started shouting his whole, like, holy roller spiel, I'm a changed man. And it was very tense, but controlled at first. Like, everything was under control. Ian was saying that he wants to make amends. He pretended to be very sympathetic to the trauma that he had put Mariah through. He actually even called it trauma. But then he asked Tessa if she was okay after her asthma attack. But I guess the more concerning attack was Tessa's attack of conscience here, because suddenly Tessa felt like she needed to thank Ian for saving her. She actually said, I owe you my thanks. And OMG, Mariah looked over at Tessa like, are you freaking kidding me right now? And honestly, that was the first time in Mariah and Tessa's whole relationship that I felt like they were so totally at ground level. Like that moment when your partner says something that really ticks you off. Like you can't even believe that that just came out of their freaking mouth. And then, of course, I think we probably all have been on the receiving end of that too, where someone looks over at you like, really? Like that just felt so suddenly relatable to me. Like suddenly Mariah and Tessa were as real as they have ever been. And that moment, it was so subtle, but it was so tense, and I'm almost kind of wondering if it's going to be hinting to future problems for Mariah and Tessa, especially because it seems like Tessa is bizarrely conflicted between Mariah and the man who so-called saved her life, even though everyone is telling her, no, there's no way it was a coincidence. And yet she has now had this weird asthma attack and still hasn't gone to the hospital. And she seems also to maybe be opening herself to leaning on Daniel, and Daniel seems to be opening himself up to leaning on her. And so I don't know, is that a friendship that's going on there, or could it possibly be leading to something more? I think we need to put a poll on that question. I want to know what you guys are predicting about this Tessa and Daniel situation. They've had a couple of run-ins here, just lightly sparsed in over the past several months, and nothing has really happened of it, but I'm kind of wondering if you guys are predicting that there will be a future romance between Tessa and Daniel. If you want to vote in that poll, go to yrchat.com and get your vote in. Anyway, Mariah stepped in and told Ian, look, you are not going to make yourself out to be Tessa's hero here, and you are not going to con Tessa into believing you. Tessa has dealt with people like you before. And I really liked that line. I really liked that moment because it reminds us that Tessa didn't just fall off the pumpkin truck yesterday into town. I mean, she should be able to spot someone with bad intentions, even if they've got a great smile and a calming demeanor. She really should know better. And I liked that Mariah made sure to say that about Tessa out loud in front of Tessa and directly to Ian, so that there would be no illusion about him thinking that he was going to win her over, and Mariah affirming that there's no way you're going to let him win you over to Tessa directly. But Ian just never gives up. He just keeps going. He keeps talking about God's plan, and Mariah just keeps on insulting him. And then Ian makes this little comment about how some people in his position, meaning some people in his religious position, would condemn the very nature of their relationship, of their life, of their family. But not him. He believes there are different types of love. And wow, that comment was so subtle, but so loud that I almost couldn't believe he said it, and I almost couldn't believe that Y&R would write it. But it was exactly the fuel that Mariah's fire needed to just start burning out of control. I mean, she said, Tessa, girl, step aside. Take Aria off to the skate park for a moment. I need a moment with this piece of filth. And Tessa leaves, And Mariah gets all up close to Ian and she looks him dead in the eye and she says, "You stay away from my family or I swear to God, I am going to kill you." Great moment. The best moment of the week. I swear to God. You know, Ian's got that whole thing going on. I swear to God, stay away from my family or I'm going to kill you. And the way she said it was so like, I'll do it. I will do it. Test me. I thought that was hands down the greatest moment of the week. That was hands down the moment I was waiting for. And I think that was the moment that Ian was waiting for too. I don't know if you guys interpreted it this way, but to me, the look on Ian's face said, gotcha. Got you right where I want you. I think Ian is going to die, or he is going to make it look like he's died, and everyone in Genoa City is going to be on the suspect list. I cannot believe that Victor would want Ian Ward stepping foot inside of his brand new home for even 1 second. I'm surprised he would even allow Ian to stand on the front porch of his brand new home, especially with Nikki right upstairs sleeping off her New Year's Eve non-hangover. But he did. Victor did. Brought him right on into the house. And Ian was so very happy to repeat his tale of attrition. And I loved the way that Victor grabbed his heart and pretended to be all touched by Ian's story. Clearly, Victor was mostly in this for the threats. You know, he absolutely loved getting up out of his chair and towering over Ian. But Ian does have one little ace up his sleeve. Apparently, Ian has sent a letter to the GCPD telling them that if anything were to happen to him, Victor Newman did it. Well, if that's true, Michael is checking on that. But if that's true, then that also puts Victor on the suspect list when Ian turns up dead or appears to turn up dead. And I would certainly put Nikki on that list of suspects too. Although I'm not sure if she could pull it off with how thin she has become. I am not the only one who has noticed this. I got confirmation this week from the Y&R chatters. She has definitely had a dramatic weight loss recently. I mean, I know that there can be weeks and weeks in between filming with like no on-screen gap. I mean, her last scenes that I saw her in could have been 6 weeks ago. And then, you know, one day goes by on screen and it's like, whoa, she looks different. But still, I feel like she lost like 30 pounds overnight. I really hope that Melody Thomas Scott is okay and that the weight loss was intentional. I'm going to assume that it's intentional because it seems like there's a lot of extra effort going on getting put into her hair and wardrobe lately. I mean, she looked incredible just standing there in her robe, coming down the stairs seeing Ian with her shocked face and her pretend no makeup look. And OMG, that black blingy suit with the gloved sleeve that she was wearing. She looked like Janet Jackson and Prince just had a baby. I was like, wow. We are really embracing the 90s right now. You add Daniel's cardigan to it on Friday, and I'm like, this is the perfect balance of the 90s. We have Nikki's Janet Jackson Prince attire, and then Daniel over here representing the tail end of the decade with his cardigan. That blingy black and gold number, man. I mean, the gloves on it are what really 90s did up. But it was a really, really rude awakening for Nikki. I mean, having to walk down the very first day of the new year and see the man who raped her, right, standing in her living room. I mean, I feel like we're calling it assault. I feel like she has called it assault a couple of times in recounting the story. But they had sex and it wasn't consensual because she thought that Ian could be Dylan's father. So, I mean, that's rape. So, I'm pretty sure that Nikki's going to be on the Who Killed Ian Ward suspect list right at the top, too. Guys, I feel like I should have big feelings about Nate and Damien, but really, I don't. I mean, the outdoor scenes in LA were nice. The mums were really pretty. I loved Amy's beret. Audra's beautiful. Nate's hot. Damien's hot. But beyond that, I mean, the whole Count of Monte Cristo thing just did not grab me at all. I couldn't even tell you what any of it meant until Nate gave us his theory on what he thought it meant, which is that Damien is living and working on a specific person's payroll, although, I don't know, maybe he just owns the company and trying to make it look like he doesn't and he's super rich or something. I don't know. But either way, it makes the premise that Nate is offering him a job that much more ridiculous. I don't understand why the subterfuge, Nate. If you're wanting to get to know your brother and also break the news to him that his mother has been lying to him his whole life. I mean, you can't introduce yourself as your brother until you also let him know that his mother was lying to him for his entire life. Well, what makes you think that the best approach to this is to start out by lying to him? Like, oh yeah, your mom's been lying to you and I've been lying to you. Wanna be bros? Makes no sense. At the same time, Devon and Lily and Abby are all back at home worrying about the Nate and Damien situation. Well, it was more Devon that was worried about Nate. And honestly, that was the most touching part of all of those scenes for me. I really like seeing how much Devon has turned around on Nate. So much so that he is allowing Nate to bring in a new family member into the family company without fully even vetting him. They don't know anything about this guy. Lily's very cautious. Lily's like the new tire on the car at Winters Inc. And I think she's got a lot to prove. I need to put new tires on my car. That's why I'm thinking, that's where that analogy came from. I need new tires for my car. So Lily's the new tire on the car at Winters Inc. You know, and I think she really wants to do a good job, especially since she's coming from this whole environment that she was in with Billy, who is still seeking some form of vague revenge about the Chancellor situation. Best not let that sleeping dog lie. Yeah, I don't know. I think Lily is just trying to do her job and move on with her life without any complications. She is not keen on bringing a stranger into the family company, not knowing if he's even someone they can trust. But honestly, I think maybe Lily is just looking at this all wrong, because if she plays her cards right, then Nate could just be bringing back a hunk who was tailor-made for her. It's a new year, new attitude. Who said it? It's a new year, new attitude. attitude? If you think you know, you should go to yrchat.com and get that answer revealed. I'm happy to reveal that Tony's birthday is coming up January 15th. Tony, very happy birthday to you. I saw a comment from you this week that I really liked about retro episodes. Tony says, the sets in the retro episodes are rich and full and dark. They never zoom in to fill the screen with an actor's face like they did back then. Lauren and Nikki often had a full tear on their cheeks. There seemed to be more drama, and I really do like a mullet. Maybe that should be a New Year's resolution / birthday gift to yourself, Tony. A mullet! I've got no problem with the mullet, and I know, I totally agree. It's like, I love your description. Rich, full, dark. Yes, those are those retro episodes for sure. Robin says there's something about the Y&R theme song that always makes me feel sad or nostalgic when I hear it. Anyone else? Maybe it's because I've watched since 1974, but I've always liked it. It's called Nadia's Theme, Hollywood. There are many versions. Yeah, there are many versions. Definitely the original is sad. It does evoke sadness. It's a sad piano melody. But certainly they've had many different versions of it. I remember in the 90s they tried to jazz it up a little bit, and now we have a much shorter version of it. But yeah, there have been many, many versions, but all of them evoke emotion, no doubt about it. Well, speaking of emotions, Sue W says, okay, Damien has made a good first impression on me. Damien. That's gotta stick. I really like that a lot. Damien. I mean, he's hot. What's there else to say? He's hot. Victoria says he is quite handsome and looks as if he could be related to Nate. He also appears a natural actor and held his own in the scene. I certainly wouldn't be mad at my TV if he's given more airtime. And Naomi agrees, saying he's very handsome and very at ease in this role. Yeah, you know, that's one thing that also struck me, aside from his looks, was that he just instantly seemed comfortable. There was an instant, I know who I am about him, and like that translated to me about him, that he just seemed comfortable. Well, Diana says, I agree with Allie that Nate's half-brother does not look older than him. He looks younger. I'm wondering if Y&R is planning on changing their original idea that Nate had an older brother and making him a younger half-brother. I also wondered if anyone has ever noticed that Nate is not able to pronounce certain words. I noticed a long time ago and have not bothered to mention it. I noticed when Nate was talking to his brother, he was not able to say the word position. He pronounces the shun as sun. It seems to be difficult for the actor to make the SH sound, the sh sound. I'm not sure why, but I can't help but wonder if Nate has some invisible braces or some false teeth. I still love the actor, but wondered if anybody else has noticed this about Nate. You know, Diana, I knew that in a sort of passive way, but I never put my finger on it, and I think you're completely right. He just doesn't pronounce the sh, the SH, so instead of position, it's position. Yeah, you totally nailed it. It could also be a speech issue. Just maybe he, maybe he never really figured out, or, in his youth, understood how to make that mouth formation to get that sound out. That's entirely possible, too. I have noticed it. I just think it's cute. I'm like, anything he does to me is just, he's the 100% complete package for me. So even the, maybe it is invisible braces or whatever it is, but whatever it is, it's still sexy as hell. What he lacks incorrect pronunciation, is it allocution? He certainly makes up for in sexiness. Well, Russell says Damien saw right through Nate's cover story and is suspicious. Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, I think he probably did see through it, right? Or he at least he had a lot of questions. It was he made it clear that it was he had a lot of questions. It was a little out of the blue. Robin says YouTube says the whole Damien and mom are frauds, but Nate quickly figures it out. I don't know if I believe it. It seems like it'd be a better storyline to have them legit, and then the mom dies, leaving the bros to rule GC in the sexy men category. Damien can then sleep through the female cast in normal soap style and possibly a love triangle with Audra or a man for Lily. Yeah, Audra's very happy about all of this. She's like, yes, let's find Damien. I can't wait to sleep with him. But I also, one of my predictions for 2025 is that Damien and Amy are not legit. But I think the bigger part of me feels like they're probably not going to go in that direction. I think it would be a fun twist if they were con artists. Like maybe the brother part is true, but they're still con artists. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out. It can't be too much longer before we find out. Like Amy supposedly has a illness that is terminal, and she really hasn't, other than one fainting spell on like Thanksgiving, we haven't really seen any signs of that. But eventually, if they are lying, that fact has got to catch up with them. Daisy says, I think Nate should have been honest with his brother rather than dance around a job interview. Damien might think it was that Nate was being weird and won't contact him again. If he does, I don't know how Nate will be able to justify this big lie. Also, Damien has his own reason for not contacting his mother, which Nate knows nothing about. Another justification for his brother to not trust him. Nate should have been honest up front and then tried to get to know Damien from that point. Lying is just going to make any type of relationship between the brothers difficult, if not impossible. I mean, Daisy, da-dang, yeah. And also, I love your point that everything that happened in their relationship is from Amy's point of view. So Amy comes in and, oh, she's the poor mother that son won't talk to. Well, we don't really know anything from Damien's point of view. I mean, maybe she was a really rotten mother, you know? So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Nate really kind of screwed himself by, number one, throwing in so hard on Amy's side, and number two, lying. Why did he decide the best way to do this was with a lie? And Amy's going right along with it? Well, doesn't that say something about the kind of person she is? She tried to get a hold of Damien. He didn't want to talk to her. Whatever happened between them doesn't mean like that Damien was the one that just doesn't appreciate his poor mother. No. There's got to be more to this story. I wish Y&R would get to it. It's been 2 weeks of like sitting around the restaurant waiting for it. I'm ready for the drama to begin. Well, Ron says about Billy, I'm not sure why, but Billy walking into society in blue jeans really threw me. The life of a former CEO playboy, I guess. Yeah, Billy, he's just doing nothing right now, so he needs his jeans on. I mean, there's no real point in getting suited up when he doesn't have a corporate job to go to. Boo-hoo, no corporate job. Connie says, I was so impressed with Chelsea today as she encouraged Billy to reconcile with his mother. She wasn't defending Jill's hurtful decision. She acknowledged the pain it caused him, yet she gave him solid advice to put family over business. I think she's becoming more independent and confident in expressing her feelings and finding her inner strength. After a suicide attempt, a crisis with her son, and a breakup, she's definitely improving, and I hope this continues. Way to zero in on Chelsea this week, Connie, because it feels like a lot of dead air to me. I'm tired of Billy and his vague revenge plots, trying to pull in Phyllis, trying to pull in Lily. None of it ever amounts to anything. But here, right in the middle of the storm, you're mentioning and reminding us that we have Chelsea being the voice of reason, who was actually giving Billy good advice, but he didn't want to hear it. T. Nicole says, I really hope Connor's OCD is not the driving force for Adam and Chelsea. Of course, you wrote cheese, but I'm assuming it's not Adam and cheese. No, I'm going to read it like that. The driving force for Adam and Cheese to get back together. T. Nicole, I didn't know that Adam broke up with Cheese. I didn't know that Adam and Cheese broke up. It's funny to me only. If Adam and Chelsea spark up a romance, then I'm sure we'll go along with it for now, but please don't use Connor as a reason to why that happens. Yeah, I know, because it's lame. Because the viewers aren't going to be like, hooray for Adam and Chelsea when they're just trying to get back together over their, like, sort of almost grown-up son. There's got to be more to hold an Adam and Chelsea relationship together than that. And I don't feel like Y&R is giving it to us. I don't feel like Y&R has given it to us in terms of a relationship, any of Adam's relationships recently, and Chelsea either. Well, Russell says, happy to see Victoria back from her convalescent bed. I'm thinking we're all pretty sure that Cole is going to accept the job. Monday's whole episode for them was just back and forth filler. Wasn't Victoria at home getting better? Did she track him down at the club after being sick for 2 weeks, missed Christmas and New Year's Eve, and that's the first time they saw each other since she finally got up, got showered, and got out of the house? And he kisses her and wants to go upstairs? Seems like she might need a little bit longer before she starts getting busy. Filler. I mean, I love it, though. I actually, of all the filler that we had, and it feels like there's a lot of filler on the show right now, the Victoria and Cole was the most pleasant filler to me. But you're darn well right, Cole's going to take that job, and we all know it. Well, Diana says, I cannot believe that Phyllis has now decided that because she now remembers that the face of the driver that ran her off the road was not Sharon, it then likely means that Sharon had nothing to do with Heather's murder. This is so ridiculous. What does one have to do with the other? This doesn't change the fact that Sharon broke into Heather's apartment, got into an altercation with her, and physically pushed Heather. This shows that Sharon was dangerous at the time, and she saw Heather and had bad intentions. I don't like that Phyllis is now ready to forget all about it because she realizes there was an older woman driving the car that ran her off the road. She also knows Sharon was not acting like herself for weeks leading up to Heather's murder, and that Sharon was full of contempt toward Daniel and the family. To top it off, Phyllis also knows that Sharon was the last one to see Heather. That's some really hard evidence that Sharon probably committed the crime. I wish that Y&R would not have Phyllis have such a drastic change of heart now. We know this is being done because of Ian and Jordan's plan to frame Phyllis. We can't have Phyllis looking like she's guilty in any way, so this is a way of protecting Phyllis from being held responsible for Heather's murder. I want Phyllis to continue doubting Sharon and making Sharon's life miserable for a little while longer. That's a pretty darn good reason if I ever heard one. And can't argue with that logic either, Diana. Naomi says, I can't care about Sharon handcuffed to something in the sewer. I can't care about why Nate's brother is a Count of Monte Cristo fan. I can't care about much of the current stuff. So I'll just enjoy Cameron, keeping Sharon company. And since it's all in her mind, I want her to have a fling with him. And Nick can walk right in before the big moment. Why not? Yeah. I mean, honestly, Naomi, as time goes on, it kind of feels like maybe Cameron is the one for Sharon. He seems to understand her. He seems to be the one who knows her best. From the previews, Russell says, so there's been a crowbar carelessly left a foot reach away from Sharon this whole time. Maybe Jordan put the leftover PCP in her water and she couldn't see the crowbar through her vision of Cameron. She'll be free before Wednesday. Man, I know, right? After all that, crowbar. What a coincidence, crowbar. I mean, of all the things you would want to find in that situation, a crowbar is like at the top of the list. So, bully for Sharon. Oh. Steven says, our villains ignore the best advice from all people. Victor Newman, get out of town. Instead, Jordan hides Sharon in the Faith Newman kidnapping commemorative sewer, a highlight of the weekly Newman Ghosts of Genoa City tour promoted by the Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, I love that, Stephen. There's like a little bus that, you know, takes people around to all of the highlights places of Genoa City. They have a stop at the Faith Newman kidnapping commemorative sewer. But that is part of the Newman Ghosts of Genoa City tour. I mean, they usually run that only around Halloween. Stephen goes on, and Jordan, hanging around society in Crimson Lights, please, what's the chance you might run into an old friend? Well, Ian and Jordan, yeah. Just be content with having scapegoated Phyllis for Sharon's disappearance and basked in Sharon's confession and unconfession. Just watch the fun from a beach in Aruba. Otherwise, prepare to meet Claire Newman, who has not only been working out with Kyle, but attending Pilates killing with your bare hand classes. Man, those flashbacks of Claire. She has definitely had a glow up. I mean, they showed the very first scene that Claire and Jordan were together, and Claire looked so very young in her tight bun. And now, yeah, you're right. She's turning into some tight buns, you know? She's like really had a change of appearance and a complete change of character too. Well, Brent says, has there been an explanation as to how Ian Ward evaded the Newman security team who was tailing him? How Ian made it back to his hotel room where that Jordan woman was waiting for him? Did the security guy not bother to follow him to his room and figure out that he wasn't alone? We all know Newman security sucks, but it shouldn't be hard for even those Keystone cops to figure out what's really going on. I continue to let myself be disappointed by the Newman security team. Why? They're awful. Yeah. And Sue W. says, Ian Ward evaded the Newman security team because it was the Newman security team. Why do they even bother with the security team when we all know it's going to just fall right away? Well, hey, last week I asked you guys if you think that Mariah will fall under Ian's spell again. 65% of you say, no, Mariah ain't gonna fall for it again. 35% of you still thinking yes. I mean, honestly, it seems like Tessa is gonna be the one to fall under his spell. Sherrod says, I guess these Y&R writers must have forgotten who Tessa Porter really is. As humans, we change our behavior and be better, but our innate instincts are still there, just like a tamed, wild animal. Tessa apparently came to town as a con artist. She played Noah, blackmailed the Newman women, capable of setting up offshore accounts. One of the few people who defied Victor Newman and didn't seek retribution against. But now we as the viewers are to believe that she has become dumb and stupid and will fall for the shenanigans of Ian Ward. As the saying goes, Tessa, you are the weakest link. Yeah, and Russell says, how are Abby and Tessa not taking the next logical step to deduce that Ian was there saving Tessa's life because he caused her to be ill by drugging her? He was milling around outside before she felt bad, especially since everyone knows Sharon was drugged and they're questioning if Ian had something to do with it, so it's not even a new idea. Yeah. No doubt about it. Russell. This is funny. On a lighter note from Russell. While Nate and Audra ate a single berry for brunch yesterday, Kyle and Jack made monster sandwiches for their lunch today. They won't even need much dinner later. I'm sorry, but I just have to tell you that I could not stop staring at Kyle's grape sandwich. It was basically a grape sandwich. It was a giant sandwich with grapes like either spilling out of it or on the side. I don't know, but I could not take my eyes off the grape sandwich. Well, here's what Connie can't take her eyes off of. Y&R wardrobe. Please be aware that the scenes with Daniel in a sweater and Danny in long sleeves does not match Abby in a strapless blouse or Tessa in a sleeveless and cutout dress. How about some ladies dressed in stylish sweaters or jackets for winter in Genoa City? No kidding. I'm sorry, but that, shirt that Danny was wearing was awful. I'm normally all things Danny, but that wine colored shirt with whatever print, like a paisley print on it, it just looked really gaudy, really out of date. I mean, it just made him look outdated. There was no bueno. But on a positive note, I thought Kyle was wearing some lovely outerwear as he made a phone call to after the grape sandwich. He came outside to make a phone call to Claire, and he was wearing this ivory colored coat, and I was like, ooh, I love outerwear. That looks so good. And also then Claire had this beautiful red leather jacket, still totally inappropriate for January in Wisconsin, but at least it was outerwear, and it was so gorgeous. But yeah, I guess I mean, we have to assume that all indoor locations in Genoa City have a roaring boiler system that just makes you so hot you have to strip down to summer wear. Well, before it's time to go, I want to read you guys some of the 2025 predictions that have been made, starting with Tanya, who predicts someone will be pregnant, a hostage situation, a death, a new character coming back, and an old character coming back, breakups or divorces, or both, a celebration, Ian and Jordan's story will end, I can only hope, Ian and Jordan dead or go back to prison, I can only hope, Nick and Sharon go back together because it's obvious since they're spending so much time together, and also some new romances. Nailed it, Tanya! Well, I predict for 2025 that Ashley will become unstable and try to make it look like Alan is really Martin. I think that would be a really fun twist on the prediction that all the fans have been making. Oh, it's not really Alan, it's Martin. Well, wouldn't it be fun if Y&R let us think that was the case, but then spun it, oh no, it actually is Alan, and Ashley's just trying to make it look otherwise. Ooh, twist. Well, Sharon W. predicts that Tucker will return to sweep Ashley off her feet, and then they decide to tie the knot for this time for good. We need Tucker back. I mean, we really, really do. For 2025, we need Tucker to return, and we really need it to be Trevor St. John. Y&R made a big mistake letting him go, and I wish they would correct it in 2025. Samuel predicts that Kyle and Diane will continue to be at odds, which ends up costing Diane and Jack their marriage. 2 old relationships will form out of this, Nick and Diane, and Jack and Sharon. Oh, Nick and Diane sounds kind of good. Jack and Sharon just were never able to get their relationship off the ground, but who knows? 2025's an all new year. Ron predicts a double wedding for Kyle, Claire, and Summer and Chance with Harrison as ring bearer. Unfortunately, the whole thing will fall apart and Summer and Kyle will remarry. Yeah, a lot of people are predicting that Kyle is going to just cheat on Claire and reunite with Summer. A lot of predictions also that Claire will become pregnant. But Victoria predicts that Claire will meet her demise in 2025. She will sacrifice herself to save the Newmans from Aunt Jordan and Ian Ward. Wow, predicting Claire's death, that would be bold. Well, how about this prediction from Marianne V, who predicts that Victoria and Cole will marry, but Cole will be involved with capturing Ian and Jordan and will be hurt or killed. Whoa! So Claire and or Cole could be on the chopping block if our predictions are true. Sue W says, I continue to hope, therefore predict, that Sally is revealed as Phyllis's long-lost daughter. Come on, Y&R, you can write some crazy carny stuff to make it happen. Those two actresses would slay. I mean, right? They have done nothing for Sally. Woohoo! She and Billy are going to Paris, apparently. Wow, I am blown away. Yeah, no, it's not good enough. Y&R does need to come up with some good material for Sally, and I think making her Phyllis's daughter is a great twist. That would also make her Summer's sister. The only thing I don't like is I kind of would love to see Sally and Daniel hook up. So, I don't know, that would get in my way of that, but I'll sacrifice it for a good story. Well, Connie predicts that Aunt Jordan and Ian are dead, Martin is alive, and Kyle's the baby daddy to Claire. Yes. Stephen predicts Jordan and Ian are not really the criminal masterminds they pretend to be. Instead, they report to Ms. Big. Sharon will play everyone for fools and come out smelling like a rose, while the two underlings will meet their tragic demise, possibly by Sharon's hand, during a rescue operation. Heather will turn out to have been Sharon's revenge. Only the viewers will know, though. Phyllis may suspect and wisely will keep quiet. Woo! I like that. Sharon's the mastermind here, not the victim. That's fun. Robin predicts that Nikki will become a ruthless businesswoman in 2025, and Claire will be learning how to be a Newman. Why is her last name Newman anyway? I know, right? Wouldn't you think she might want to be Howard? There's no prestige in the Howard name unless she wants to be an author. But I like your prediction that Nikki will become a ruthless businesswoman. You know, she was looking more like Catherine to me with this new thinner, thin bod and the blingy outfit. She was giving me Catherine vibes. I wouldn't mind if she became kind of ruthless. You know, I was thinking the other day, it's like, Nikki doesn't have a lot of personality attached to her. She doesn't have a ton of, like, career ambition. Like, Nikki's always kind of been there as a love interest. She doesn't have a lot of her own. All the other women on the show have had careers. Nikki really hasn't been focused on as a businesswoman until the last several years when she took over Newman Media, and now apparently she's running the monster that is Chancellor Industries. She did run for senator one time. I remember that. That could be an interesting, like a political thing running could be interesting for Nikki. But aside from that, it's like, yeah, Nikki, she usually has a love problem or all her drinking storylines or a medical crisis, but career hasn't really been much part of her trajectory. Maybe it will be in 2025. Oh, well, T. Nicole had lots of good predictions, but I have to say this one stuck out to me. T. Nicole predicts that this year will focus on character drama and personal growth rather than business drama. Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. And the fact that Kyle and Jack were working from home this week, doing business at the Abbott dining room table, that is big, big, big evidence of that. And I think you're right. Maybe some of the filler scenes, the slowness of the show in the past week is Y&R trying to focus more on character and personal growth. And maybe I'm just having trouble adjusting to the speed, the new speed. Hey, this is great from Tony. This is a bombshell. This is the type of prediction I like. Tony says Sharon Case will retire from Y&R in 2025. Her 30-year anniversary has gone on for months, more than Michelle or Josh, whose anniversary show was all about Sharon. Ooh, that's a juicy prediction that Sharon Case will retire in 2025. Very good. Do you have a juicy prediction for 2025? I decided I am going to leave the predictions thread open until this Tuesday, January 14th at 11 a.m. I feel like that'll give everybody who's listening to this enough time to get one more prediction in, or to get there and do it if you haven't done it yet. Maybe hearing these predictions will spark some inspiration for you, and you'll want to get there to yrchat.com. The 2025 predictions thread will be right there on the front page if you scroll until Tuesday, January 14th at 11 a.m. yrchat.com. Get those last minute 2025 predictions in. Okay, everybody, that does it for me. I should go make some phone calls about getting those new tires on my car. Life is so dull. Y&R is so interesting. I don't even like it when my dull life accidentally bleeds into my Y&R. I much prefer it the other way around. Oh, well. Hey, again, you should go to yrchat.com to leave your comments. If you want to pick up a bonus episode of Y&R Chat, you can go to genoacitysoap.com. But most importantly, come on back next Sunday and we will definitely chat all about Sharon and the crowbar. We'll chat about it then. I love you guys. I hope you have a really good week. I'll see you next time. Bye.